It's not like I mind being on record with my views, but by the time anybody finds this and decides to make a movie about this trip dude from Pittsburgh and that, who had views, it will by then be illegal to espouse what I'm going to say. So since we're in the United States and it's still legal, I'll espouse. When the Beatles rolled themselves out on media red carpet on the heels of the Kennedy assassination, they were perfecting a method of capitalizing on the fact that each generation is reborn. I was strategically positioned in timeline chronology by cahoots between the Dulles people and the Queen Elizabeth crowd, Windsor. They pull it again with Greta Thunberg. That picture on the cover of Times has a sort of aspect of me as a kid. My mother used to say how funny it was that people always took me for a girl, called me the prettiest girl in the class and that. So Thunberg was doing the right thing, but it was clogged to the convenience of the strong men who, how about that Putin whining about Trumpington getting some bureaucracy put to him. Putin don't like the paperwork. He calls me a paper shuffler. He thinks America has too many paper shufflers. Maybe he doesn't know how hard it is to shuffle papers. He knows judo. Trip dude who cancels Navalny. He talk about cancel culture. And his cahooters in Ukraine who pulled another strongman move. The movement towards cleansing some excess because of their stinking failure to adapt to echo schools. And Toon was saying, oh, the queer ball's going to cry because somebody who's morally good, pure, and raised proper in Sweden is the replacement to his voice. He didn't get to cry out in the 80s about ecology because he was chasing the carousel club around like his own tail. While the pyromaniacs got loose from the Board of Corrections with Wattenmaker refrigerator goodies, like the LSD that blew poor children's heads off. Yeah. Proven to originate with the Board of Prisons and AIDS and COVID and all that stuff. So they got 1,000 migrants in Italy today. People were being overrun by flame over Africa, moving into a carbon hell. The strong men are cleansing with the fist of God, Almighty, coming with floodwaters, man. And they'll clean the chair for Von Kim. Not that there's any reason why you shouldn't dust the chair for a sovereign. But we're supposed to want peace so badly, we go along with the abrogation of basic considerations between human beings. So why did they unplug America? They unplugged America. Here's how it works. I'll explain because I got wise to this stuff when I saw what they pulled on Mackenzie. Surely. I got wise. I'll tell you what they do. See, there's some truth to the fact that America's paperwork leaves something to be desired. Like, they pummeled me. I mean, Edgar Snyder boys and the Chick Kirshner trip dudes, they laugh and laugh and laugh about how they got queerbait to hold the bag. And you can't talk, they piecemeal. They talk out loud about making the tea kettle go off with the neuroplasm. They do this to me. They do Parkinson's to me. They make me deaf. I had to have eye surgery. They make off with my girlfriend. They do any old thing they please. They come and go from my apartment. They poison me in the mouth. And I go to do the paperwork for the simple truth of being tortured. And nobody says nothing. They say, no, though, there's no paperwork for torture. That's not a word in the legal vocabulary. You need what Bob Sampson, that's a suspect with 5 Purple Hearts, called a $20 word. So paperwork is something to be desired. So how did these crafties from the Confederacy team up with the hunker downs back in the USSR to pull this universal military? Because they go, ooh la la, somebody got some good girl stuff. Because they commodify everything. The dignities between relationships between people are only understood as a commodity. That's why the pornography institutions got away with so much, because they commodify. They cater to people's unwillingness to define how they're refusing to acknowledge what civil rights means, which is basic freedom of association. Oh, they have a postal union that follows your letters. Freedom of association. They call it two-timing. It's not two-timing. It's recovery from a head trauma with the help of peers. So what do? So what they do is they come in sneaky. The Soviet Jews working through Board of Corrections, Attica State, they get a real big position because they're smartos. You know, they have their doctorates. They've opened, corpses to take a look at what's inside. And they say, we're now coroner, officially pronounced coroner. OPC. And we'll play war games on the lesser of the expendables. If one of these experiments goes really, really badly, and a couple of kids get killed who unexpectedly, they'll cheer and say it worked better than we thought it did, and blame the girl who they abominably mistreated with a neurohypnotic agent. Yep. So what happens is her lawyer says behind the scenes, I want to be prosecuting attorney someday. And the judge says, tell you what we'll do. We'll slap you 5 if you tell her to stick to the letter of the law. Don't get any of the truth that bypasses our fabrication. Just go by the letter of the law and convince them that that's going to be good because we interpret by the letter of the law. And he says, yeah, that's a great idea. So he shows that nobody knows what really happened. They're not open to information about what might have happened, except their illusion machine can be conjuring. And they convict her. And this shows everybody worldwide what a heap American paperwork is. And so it's called falling between the cracks. So now they have big movers from media, specially inspecting those who fall between the cracks and saying this illustrates that paperwork is no good. Throw away the paperwork. Let's riot. Let's riot. And they line up Nazis on bridges in Florida. It's not going to work out that way for them. What's going to happen is that America is going to pull together and realize we've been tricked, that we 100% need to continue with the best we possibly can and reform some of our paperwork to look more honestly in favor of competence, not Russell Strongsville people. Russell Strongsville's coming. Russell Strongsville's coming. Woo, woo. We're going to fix this with corporations. Corporations are going to lead the way with American idealism, man. Oh, wow.